and SoCal rider Kurt Voorhees. Welcome to the granddaddy of mountain bike venues. We're at Mammoth Mountain, California for stop number 4 of the Chevy Truck National Championship Series of Mountain Biking. This is the Visa Downhill. I'm Gordy Johnson, along with mountain bike pro Leah Garcia. Leah, brand new course this year.
It's a whole new course and a completely different venue. Most of you probably remember the name Kamikaze. Well, that was last year. Today, we're introducing the Bullet. It's a 2-mile technical descent filled with pumice and stone.
Pumice, stone, and a variety pack of drop-offs, stumps, and boulders, really testing the suspension on these bikes.
You know what? It's going to test the equipment, but also the mental capacity of the rider.
Let's go to the top of the course. The top descenders in mountain biking are gathering and getting ready to go racing here at Mammoth. At the top of Chair 16, the women's pro field, their last-minute preparations. As you can see, still snow at 9,580 feet. All this action brought to you by Visa. NORBA prefers Visa. And by GT Bicycles. It's your world, ride it.
Our name has been around for decades. It's synonymous with performance. Yet, we make none of the products shown here. We simply make bicycles. Very fast bicycles.
I feel I can run forever today.
The Release DMX6 from Reebok has moving air technology for the ultimate in cushioning and stability. So it reacts to the way you run.
Out of my way, I'm feeling great. Hello. Here I come.
The Reebok Release DMX6 running shoe. Try it on at Champs Sports.
What kind of fuel do you put in those shoes?
A good sweat isn't so good once the game is over. That's why there's Irish Spring Sport. It has an extra antibacterial ingredient that kills odor-causing germs better than regular soap. It's Irish Spring Sport. Play as hard as you like.
Night, Shannon. Good game.
Hey, thanks, man.
Eggs are crazy. What time are almost finished?
You like late hits? Then you love NFL Extreme. It's a 5-on-5 gridiron free-for-all.
PlayStation.
Stop.
What's the matter?
10321 is changed to 10-10-321.
Will I get the same great savings?
Sure. 10-10-321 still saves 50% on all calls over 20 minutes.
So I just dial 10-10-321 before one in the number.
It's that easy.
The start gate here at Mammoth is above 9,500 feet, 1,260 feet of vertical drop. The course designed by Tattoo Lou DeAngelis and local expert Jamal Brown. On course, we've got Marla Streb, who leads the National Championship Series points race.
Gordy, Marla's coming into this race today knowing that there's a handful of other women that can take away the jersey from her.
She's got to put together a consistent run on this course. As you can see right at the top, it gets very rocky, a lot of fall-away turns. Not very many pedaling sections.
Not in the beginning of this course. The upper part of this course is more Euro-based. It has that feel to it. And then down below, things start getting fast.
Marla picking the wide line there and in between the woods, trying to cut that corner off.
You know, I'm not seeing too much wrong with this run so far. She looks very smooth.
A direct line there, a little bit of a bobble in the pumice after the log jammer, now into the rock garden.
Marla's good at riding this type of stuff. She's a motocross rider in the wintertime in her hometown in Marin, California.
There's a lot of crossover between the motocross bikes and these new full suspension downhill bikes. Disc brakes, ton of travel. Marla Streb using up the whole last chance turn.
Coming into the sprint finish right here, Marla's got to make up some time because actually earlier on in the course we did find out that she had a little crash.
Marla's time was a 5:36.91. Now back to the start for Lisa Scher. And when you talk about downhill, you talk about the riding technique and the tactics, Leah.
Preparation is really important, and I've had a chance to talk with Lisa about her preparation. She walks the course, she rides the course multiple times before her final run.
Over the jump, you can see that Rotec frame absorbing the drop-off. The first drop-off now into the second rocky drop-off.
State-of-the-art equipment. You can hear the hit on that bike.
Those bikes are designed to take incredible hits. Lisa Scher, pretty good line on the upper section, carrying good speed across the flats.
She really analyzes the lines because there's a lot of these turns that you can just rail the berm on the side. They've built it up.
Locking it up there to make that tight left-hander. Now over 3 drop-offs in a row.
You called it the log jammer earlier. I wanted to clarify that it's a jammer, but you can't jam. You've got to go right through it.
You got to straight line it. Know it's there for you. And Lisa Scher still good pace here. Consistent run.
Oh, she wasn't in the right gear, Gordy. She came down that last little drop off. She hadn't shifted before, which cost her some time.
And that cost her some time, showing what an important role the equipment plays in this racing process. Here's Mongoose team mechanic Stickman with a look at Lee Donovan's state-of-the-art machine.
Today we're looking at Lee Donovan's race bike here at Mammoth, the Mammoth National. She's running a Shimano hub roller brake, which is basically drum brake technology. She's also running an air shifting system, which is an air canister here that sends an air impulse to the rear derailleur instead of using cables and housing and such. And everything seems to be working good here, so we'll hope for the best.
With a good result here today, Lee Donovan has a shot at taking over the National Championship Series lead. Lee Donovan hammering across the flat, but it gets tight and technical right there.
The very first turn on this course actually is a bit of a speed check for the racers. Get them to turn around and get themselves set up for the next section.
The old Kamikaze downhill course, top speeds were about 60 miles an hour. This one goes through the woods, rocks, drop-offs, top speeds maybe 40.
About 40 in the top section of this course. There's a section that's a double track, which actually because of the runoff of the snow now has turned into a single track.
Lee Donovan, consistent run so far, a couple little dabs. Oh, almost over the bars on the big drop-off.
Yeah, you got to stay light on your handlebars. You can't be too far forward on that.
She's trying to make up for that mistake now on the lower section, braking in the pumice and setting up for these tight zigzags through the forest.
You know, a downhiller, when they make a mistake, sometimes up at the top of the course, it can be to their advantage because it'll make them relax. They think, oh, I blew it, and then they really ride well.
So Lee Donovan trying to make up a little time here at the bottom. As she hammers to the line, she'll clock in at 5:27.58. Very fast riders at the top. One of them, Kim Saunier, this 2-time world's medalist, probably has as much World Cup experience as anyone in this field.
Kim races for Volvo Cannondale, and they have an excellent program, both with their support and their bicycles.
Balanced, relaxed position. She straight lines off the drop-off and into the compression.
You know, if you watch the top 5 riders that are on the podium and you'd pick the line of the one who's in first versus the one who's in 5th, it's the calculated risk that the one in first takes and hits it every time.
And her years of motorcycle riding paying off out here today. Excellent position on the bike and squaring off those turns. Kim Saunier coming into this gnarly section here. We had a chance to talk to her about her tactics.
The rock section near the bottom is really hard because it's a blind entrance. You're doing a traverse and then you come over the ledge and there's a rock, a big rock, like you can't roll over it, and you have to choose, do I go right or do I go left? And which one you choose depends on which way you want to go in the curve at the bottom, whether you want to take the outside line or the inside line. And it's really critical because there's a log in the middle of the corner, and then as you exit the corner, you actually have to go up a small rise.
So here comes Kim. Oh, nice, threads the needle right through the side of the rock.
Just like she wanted to do, and that's the line that she decided to take around the outside.
Absorbing the 3 drop-offs in a row, and look at the travel of the bike, smooth as silk.
Coming around the corner, that's why it's so important to know what you're going to do ahead of time on this course. Again, a little slowdown in that section where she should have downshifted.
But excellent anticipation there. She never really locked it up. She kept moving forward toward the finish line. And Kim Saunier comes through. A 5:16.92. She smashes the lead there. One rider has a chance to take the gold medal away from Kim Saunier. That is plate number 1, Sherry Elliott, last year's overall national champ. She won the prelims by a large margin, but she's thinking about this run, 110%.
She's got to think about this run because you can't think about where you've been. You've got to look at where you're going.
And if you watch Sherry through this section, skying it out, then she backs off a little bit, and look at how she chooses that line.
She's got a history of BMX racing. She doesn't anticipate what's coming. She basically attacks it.
Attacking it top to bottom is the only way you can win the Visa downhill. And Sherry Elliott taking a super tight line through the woods here.
See, when you come into the woods and you've been out in the daylight, it's really hard for your eyes to adjust from the light to the darkness.
Over the 3 drop-offs. Sherry Elliott on pace to take the lead.
That was a sweet section right there.
Sweet section there, and probably one of the quickest through the slowest section.
Coming down into the final turn right now, we're calling this the last chance.
Catching a little air, and onto the pavement at Mammoth. She's got to beat a 5:16.92. Sherry Elliott digging deep at the line. 5:09.25.
There we go. Thanks.
7 seconds, she takes it.
That's no for a champion to be. Good to go. Sherry, water.
Sherry Elliott coming into the final run 13 seconds ahead of everybody else. Tell me about the log section and how you handled that.
Well, you know, the log section was really tough right down at the bottom, especially since you're coming off a 2-foot drop, then like another 2-foot drop, and then you've got this pumice of sand about, 7 inches deep that a lot of people were crashing because you're trying to go a little too fast and you can't steer in there. All I did was lean my butt way back on each of the drops and then keep my butt way back and steer through using the upper body and then hug into the turn. It was very difficult, but I'm sure it was a key to being ahead so much.
And the Visa downhill champ is Sherry Elliott, followed by Kim Saunier and Lee Donovan. When we come back, we're going to have slalom racing and the men's downhill from Mammoth Mountain.
I know, it's just not fair. You get a little older, and what happens? Your hair falls out. What is that? Your hair falls out. Is that your story? Get a little thin up there? You know you can have your hair back at no charge. That's right, there's no cost. I said free. Just call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB and receive your free booklet on how to get your hair back for free. We're the Hair Club for Men. We're not about drugs or surgery. What we are about is adding real human hair into your own. Hair that looks and feels like your own. A natural hairstyle for an active lifestyle. So call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB right now for a free brochure, your free hair, and for a limited time, an added bonus. A free vacation, 3-day, 2-night family vacation package at your choice of major resort hotels. All you have to do is prepay for a basic club plan. That's it. So make the call and get your hair back now by calling 1-800-HAIR-CLUB. That's 1-800-HAIR-CLUB.
People ask me all the time, how do you decide which anchors work together? And to be honest, it's an awkward process.
Dear Larry, want to do the sports together? If yes, check this box. Charlie?
Ultimately, you're looking for a good relationship.
If you're not doing anything later tonight, would you want to do a show with me?
Whoever said all's fair in love and war was probably a broadcaster.
We'll be back with more Sports Center in just a moment.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
Eric Carter for Team GT, one of the top contenders in the Visa downhill and in our dual slalom. Mountain bike dual slalom all started here at Mammoth Mountain back in the early 80s. And here we go. This is the ladies, Sherry Elliott going against Tara Yanis. Tara Yanis with a little bit of a lead.
Tara Yanis from Specialized is doing extremely well right now in the World Cup dual slalom.
Tara Yanis with the lead. She's got to make it up. Over the tabletop and to the finish, Tara Yanis sprints to the bronze medal. Now the championship round. Katrina Miller on the right, riding for Jameis. Tate Lee Muxlow for GT. 2 Australian girls in the slalom finals at Mammoth.
Katrina Miller last year was on another factory team doing really well in the downhill, but she is probably by far the best female jumper you will ever see.
Skies the triple jump there into the berm turns, and Mammoth is all about slalom. They've been doing it for years. They build great courses and huge tabletops. Look at the air as Katrina Miller takes the goal.
Both ladies, I always say they must be chasing kangaroos out there to learn how to jump that high.
Here we go. Bart McDaniel and Jeff Schofield. This is for bronze and silver in the men's race. That's Schofield on the blue course and McDaniel on the red, close at the top.
McDaniel had a little bobble up there. Schofield got an advantage.
Schofield for a road tack. Oh, slips a pedal, but still hanging on to it for the bronze medal. Bart McDaniel takes fourth. Our championship final. In the gate on the right, Brian Lopes. On the left, GT's Eric Carter. Green light, and they're off. Lopes needs to win this by a full 1.5 because he had a problem in the first round.
Men are fiery in this one here, Gordy. You can see BMX skills, bike handling, and acceleration.
Lopes a little offline there over the triple, but he still has the lead. He's got to take it by a second and a half. He looks over his shoulder. He'll win the run, but the differential's not large enough. Carter's our gold medalist. A little more fun for Mammoth. Shams March for Ellsworth. 9th in the downhill, having some fun, going big. Stay with us. Coming up, it's the men's finals of the Visa Downhill.
Our name has been around for decades. It's synonymous with performance. Yet, we make none of the products shown here. We simply make bicycles. Very fast bicycles.
It's late in the fourth quarter. And the announcer can't see it. And the fans can't see it. But I can. I can see it in their eyes. They're getting tired.
This is for my grandfather, who always said I'd make the family proud. For my mom, who never let me out the door without my homework. For my dad, who worked the night shift to make our lives better.
Flight 3 Alpha. Spotted.
For myself, for my future.
Be all that you can be.
Brian Lopes for Team Mongoose, the number 3 qualifier in the preliminary round. Out of the saddle and on course. Top of chair 16 at Mammoth. Again, that flat section probably the fastest. Now it all starts to happen into the drop-off and the compression.
Brian is probably one of the most aggressive riders out on the circuit today.
Brian Lopes also working out. He's got a great training program, one of the strongest upper bodies in the sport.
That's going to really help, especially the upper part of this course where you can get some arm pump if you're not careful.
Looks like Lopes fairly consistent so far. Over the 3 drop-offs in a row.
Gordy, that log jammer section, what you need to do is you need to drop off and hit your bike smoothly, front and rear tile on each one to get the good speed going.
So Brian Lopes working his way down the course here. Another flat traverse, but then another very technical section for Lopes.
I hate to say it, but in the women's race, that was one of the slowest sections. You couldn't even see him hesitate there.
Carried good speed across that slow section. Now flying past the crowds. He's got a rear flat tire.
Oh, that's going to cost him some really valuable time. I hate to see that happen.
Oh, Brian Lopes trying to make up for lost time here, but you can see him. Oh, tough break there today for Lopes. At the top, riding for Vans and Iron Horse, it's Phil Tinsman.
Phil Tinsman's been on the circuit for many years. He's used to racing up here in Mammoth.
He's out of Arizona, and at this point in time, carrying speed off the drop-off and excellent acceleration here on the top.
You know, we talked about he's used to racing at Mammoth, but let's talk about the Kamikaze versus the Bullet here. There's a big difference between the two courses.
That's right. There's a lot of riders who love the high speed, 60 plus on the old Kamikaze course. But here at Mammoth, the Bullet, much more technical, a lot more of a European flavor.
It's got European flavor, and what we mean by that is there's so much more of this stuff right here, this technical, rocky, descending, and sometimes really steep.
There in the break, you can see him dragging the foot twice. Two major recoveries here for Tinsman.
He's riding aggressively, but he looks like he's a little all over his bike. He's not as smooth as he should be.
He's trying to make up time on the lower section. 1, 2, 3 through the log jammer. Excellent line there.
Gordy, see how the dust is flying up? The course is changing dramatically from racer to racer. We've got what we call rider erosion happening.
The course has evolved throughout the week at Mammoth. We had 70 semi-pros after the semi-final round, so it even changed here. Phil Tinsman across the line here, trying to jump onto the podium. Phil Tinsman sprinting it. Couple mistakes, but still a 4:47.06. Next up, Jürgen Benecke, Schwinn Toyota RAV4 with that straight 6 Lawwell rear end. One of the most high-tech bikes on the tour.
Jürgen is calm no matter what he does. I've never seen him blow up on a course.
He's another guy that races all the World Cups and the Nationals. He's seen every type of course in the book.
Beautiful line through there. You can see he's really light on his handlebars. He's pedaling off of his saddle, meaning that he's not sitting down as much as some of the other racers.
You can see him absorbing the terrain not only with his body, but also the frame, taking up a lot of those little bumps and undulations.
That's the big section right there that you've got a choice on which side of the tree to go on. Oh. He had so much speed going through the log jammer that he almost could have missed one of those jumps.
Across the traverse section, little drop off, and then what we were calling the slow section before, he rails that pretty nice.
Very nicely.
So Jürgen Benecke coming down. Top riders gathered at the top. He knows he's got to do everything he can right to the finish line. He comes through 4:46.53 for Benny. Back to the top, Kurt Voorhees. Kurt Voorhees was the #1 man in the preliminary round, riding for Specialized Mountain Dew on that FSR full suspension.
You saw Kurt's face in the beginning of the show with that snarl. I think he picked that up from his buddy Sean Palmer.
Oh yeah, Voorhees is a guy who's got a little pressure on him out here lately because they know he can win some of these races.
Kurt's always had the ability to ride well. He started the season off pretty slowly, but he's starting to kick it in right now. He's got great support from Specialized. Joe Buck, his mechanic, has done a great job fixing up his bike.
Watching the suspension over the rough section. Look how much the bike is doing absorbing that. A little bit of a problem there, but he kept it going down the hill.
Well, Gordy, if you notice, he's using flat pedals. He doesn't have his feet clipped in, so he can actually take them out and dab and not cost himself any time.
2 in a row there, one on the right side, one on the left side, but still, again, rolling down the mountain.
Trick on a downhill course like this is you need to float over the top of all this stuff, especially now that the pumice is so loose.
And interestingly enough, Kurt Voorhees' first run time of 4:41. If he can stay on that pace, he can take it. Trying to make up for those little bobbles on the top of 4:44.46. 2 riders to go when we come back at the Visa Downhill.
Leisure suits, go-go boots, feathered hat, fat gat, hippie chick, bachelor's jerk, disco diva, Gucci shirt, shark skin slacks, gunny sacks, patent leather, bowl feathers, hip huggers, toe juggers, brown shoe, rhythm moves, golden man, lingerie, saddle shoes.
At the Attic Vintage Clothing Store in Las Vegas, the only thing that's out of style is using American Express. So bring your Visa card. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
A good sweat isn't so good once the game is over. That's why there's Irish Spring Sport. It has an extra antibacterial ingredient that kills odor-causing germs better than regular soap. It's Irish Spring Sport. Play as hard as you like.
Wendy's Chicken Caesar Pita is filled with fresh vegetables and chunks of chicken wrapped in warm, soft pita bread. Finally, something so delicious, you feel so good about eating. Wendy's Fresh Stuffed Pitas. feel good.
It's a win-win situation.
The art of tennis, as played by the masters. Tennis on ESPN and ESPN2.
The 1998 Chevy Trucks National Championship Series of Mountain Biking is brought to you by Visa. NORBA prefers Visa. And by GT Bicycles. It's your world, ride it. 2 riders to go. John Kirkcaldy from New Zealand qualified 8th in the preliminary round, and he's on course for Foes Racing. Between runs, we asked John about his suspension setup.
Yeah, my Foes DH Slammer is one of the longer travel bikes. It's currently running, 8.5 inches of travel in the rear and just under 7 in the front. So the rear end, as you can see, is very, very plush, as I'm just bouncing up and down on it here. But it helps a lot. You want to have the suspension very soft because there's a lot of holes and rocks on the course, and that soft conditions really helps for the bike to grip in the corners.
And the other thing, it's amazing how the equipment has evolved. Even in the last 5 years, maybe 5 years ago, 3 or 4 inches of travel was a lot.
Beautiful shot right there with the rocks flying up in the air. A course like this, you're always uprooting new rocks.
Here a flat section, but setting up for that square off turn, and a really nice arc through there.
Coming in the final part, this is the fast part of the course. Momentum is your friend right here.
See the front shocks taking a lot of the hurt out of those big bumps and boulders.
That was a really nice line over those rocks. Ow! That's why you wear shoulder pads.
Tried to take a really tight line on that left hand or grazed the tree, but it didn't cost him very much time there.
I don't really think it cost him anything at all.
John Kirkcaldy, the middle section of the course, traversing across, and then he'll drop off the log and into the woods one more time.
Finished the rock garden section really smoothly there, coming into the finish line. Notice how they counter steer around that corner.
Throwing the bike from side to side, trying to beat the time of Voorhees. He edges out Voorhees by 1/100th of a second. We have a new leader with 1 rider to go. It's Scott Sharples. Sharples out of Australia, riding for Trek Volkswagen. He was number 2 in the preliminary round, but remember, Voorhees had a couple of dabs in his run. Sharples could take it away.
Sharples has all the ability to take it away. He's riding really well right now in the season, and he's got no pressure on him, Gordy. He's not racing for a jersey. It's just all about this run.
1 run now for Sharples. Very relaxed, very casual approach here, but smooth line.
So casual, it's almost frightening. He doesn't even look like he's pushing his bike.
So Scott Sharples now coming through. Talk about the braking a little bit. Of course, the front and rear disc brakes. What's the difference?
Gordy, you use your front brake to stop you and to slow you down, and you use the rear brake to get your back end around. It's basically the directional.
Also, very sensitive on the brake levers. A lot of us hit the front brake a little too hard in the wrong section. We're Superman.
Yeah, that's what you don't want to do. And you'll rarely see one of these pros do something like that.
Scott Sharples skying over the crossing there. That jumped over the cross-country course. And he's on pace to take it away. His preliminary run would not be fast enough to take the lead. He's got to up it a little bit.
So far, it's a flawless run coming in for Sharples.
Into the finish arena at Mammoth Mountain for the Visa Downhill title. He's got to beat a 4:44.45. He does it.
We've got Scott here, one of the most gracious riders on the circuit. Did you set your bike up differently for this course today?
No, I left it the same because, familiarity is a big thing for me, so it just felt comfortable. I loved the way it rode, and I just wanted to leave it the way it was. I was just hooking up, just ripping that track to pieces, throwing rocks and dust everywhere, and just having total control, just right on the edge. I was loving it, every minute of it.
The brand new Bullet course, a great success. Our champion, Sherry Elliott, followed by Kim Saunier, Lee Donovan, Lisa Scher, and Damian Skelton. For the guys, Scotty Sharples, followed by John Kirkcaldy, Kurt Voorhees, Jürgen Benecke, and Phil Tinsman. Marla Streb and Jürgen Benecke, our National Championship Series point leaders.